justice for all. Good morning and welcome to the November 17th County Commission meeting. I would remind you to silence your cell phones. The meeting documents are available at the end of the counter next to Commissioner Bender. If you need a listening device, Robert is in the front and he can help you with that. With that, we'll go on to routine business. Item number 1 is consider a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner
I'd like
Barth.
to amend the other, sorry.
Yep.
I'd like to amend the agenda and defer item 14 for 1 week.
We'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda with a deferral of number 14 for 1 week. Is there, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 2 is approve the County Commission meetings from November 11th, 2015. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Are there any changes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 3 is bills to be paid in the amount of $1,446,682.93. Is there a motion?
Pay the bills.
A second? Is there a comment? Commissioner Barth?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Normally our bills without any extraordinary costs are, I think, somewhere around $220,000 to $250,000. Today, at $1.4 million, I just want to bring up a couple of things that caused this to be larger. We actually paid $57,000 for legislative audit. We paid around $200,000 to Armor Correctional Health. We had $600,000 between 3 bills for the Highway Department. We had $253,000 that went to the Library Fund. We had $25,000 that went to Metro Communications, and we spent $36,000 to upgrade the sound and video for our meeting room here. So that's why the bills this week are a little higher than normal.
Thank you, Commissioner Barth. Any other comments on bills? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 4 is reports. Item A is Register of Deeds report of fees collected in October 2015, and that is on file at the auditor's office. Item number 5 is personnel. Item A is consider a motion to approve the routine personnel agenda. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions for HR? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 6 is applications for abatement. There are none. Item number 7 is notices and requests. There are none. Item number 8 is planning and zoning notices. There are none. Item number 9 is petition of compromise of lien. There are none. Next is opportunity for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to speak to the Commission on anything that is not on the agenda. And seeing none, we will move on with regular business. At 9 a.m., we have item number 10 is a public hearing to consider the application for special events alcoholic beverage license application for December 5th, 2015. Cindy Jespin.
Thank you, Cindy. The nonprofit organization Horsepower is having a Country Christmas fundraiser on December 5th. Firehouse Wine Cellars and Wild Prairie Winery have both submitted special event off-sale package wine license applications to sell wine by the bottle, and also consume and blend applications so they can give out wine samples during the event. The applications have been reviewed by the Sheriff's Department, State's Attorney's Office, and Planning and Zoning Department, and there were no objections or concerns reported back to me. The action requested today is for approval of the 2 licenses for both of the applicants. And Tasha Anderson, the Executive Director of Horsepower, is here. If you have any questions about the fundraiser, she's available to answer them for you.
Are there any questions for Tasha Anderson with Horsepower? Seeing none. Cindy, can we do this as one motion or do we need 2? Okay, so I would look for one motion to approve both off-sale packaging wine and blend alcoholic beverage licenses.
So move.
Second.
The motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. We're done. Item number 11 is consider a motion to authorize the chairman, auditor, and emergency management director to enter into an agreement with the State of South Dakota Office of Homeland Security to receive equipment and training in the amount of $140,410.76. Lindia,
Good morning, Commissioners. Lindy Young, Emergency Management. As you recall, on a yearly basis, Minnehaha County is awarded dollars for Homeland Security projects. We work within a 8-county region, including Union, Clay, Minnehaha, McCook, Turner, Lincoln, Lake, and Moody to prioritize the list of projects within our region. After that prioritization meeting, we were awarded the dollars for the items listed below to the tune of $140,410.76. One thing that is different this year from the past is the state's moved to an online grants management system. That's the first time that we'll be doing that, so I'll work with them to ensure that we continue to have a seamless process there. So I'd be willing to answer any questions, but at the end I do need a commission authorizations for the emergency management to enter into the agreement with the state of South Dakota and sign the necessary online documents.
Okay. Are there any questions for Lynn this morning? Commissioner Barth.
Over the years, you've done a brilliant job of getting grant money for these many counties and brought in, I would say, millions of dollars, hasn't it been? So in that process, our county auditor and stuff works with you to make sure that everything is right as far as the paperwork and all that stuff, right? Or do
Yep.
you do it?
No. One thing about all of these is there is a process that we have to follow, all the way from the federal government to the state of South Dakota, and then down to the region level to include those counties that we have. So there's many people involved in the process, including our auditor's office and myself work hand in hand to ensure that all the documents are created and signed and tracked in the necessary process, so that we're not only following county guidelines, but that we're following state and federal guidelines to ensure that that we're meeting all the requirements, not only tracking of the grant dollars, but of purchasing the equipment that's needed. So we do work hand in hand. In fact, yesterday, as part of this agenda item, both Kim and Darlene and myself once again just had this is a new grant year, here's the change within the process, and here's how we attempt to do the right things. We also go through that audit that the county paid for on a yearly basis. This year it was the $57,000. Our grants are part of that to ensure compliance with that. And then within Sioux Falls, we do have a state Department of Legislative Audit representative. So if we run into any questions, we can give Mr. Fortin a call over on the east side of town or stop in. So, it's always been our goal and will continue to always be our goal to follow the necessary documents and requirements, and then if we have questions, to ensure that we're doing it right the first time and that we don't have to do it over, to ask for those guidance. And if there isn't the guidance there, which has been several times, let's take plenty of time to do this right so that we don't have to do it over, has been kind of our approach to this, because once again, these have been around since 9/11 or since after then, or since actually before then. 1998 was the first year, but they've changed every year with different priorities that the federal government has, different ways that they're managed at the state, different requirements down to the local level. So although you see the grant paperwork in front of you once or twice a year, there's a lot of moving parts to ensure compliance on the backside that the commission doesn't see in many different departments with many different people ensuring strict regulations and strict guidelines to ensure that everything's done correctly.
Okay. Any other questions for Lynn? I heard an interesting tidbit on the news last night. I don't have all the details, but they were talking about the millions of dollars that were spent in Homeland Security outside of the United States, and I thought, I wonder if we even compare. And they said the United States spends billions of dollars in Homeland Security funds, and I thought, wow.
Yep, and we think this process will continue to go because the threat is ever evolving, and we do have those working groups, and you try to stay ahead of it. But based on our society, we can't stay ahead of everything that we have out there. So, but we're doing a good job of spending, tracking, and identifying the needs of the community in compliance with state and federal guidelines. So,
Okay. Look for a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the Emergency Management Director to enter into agreement with the State of South Dakota for Homeland Security grants. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank
Madam Chair, I would just like to reiterate, I think Lynn has done a great job over the years that I've known him, and his service is not just to Minnehaha County, but to the other counties that he listed. And thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Item number 12 is authorize the chairman to sign the 2016 lease agreement between the court-appointed special advocate, CASA, and Minnehaha County. Carol Muller.
Good morning, Commissioners. Carol Muller. Yes, the county has a long-running relationship with CASA in terms of providing space for them. As a matter of fact, it goes all the way back to when they first started doing CASA in the county. This year, for 2016, under the terms of the agreement, CASA would pay $7,250 to lease 1,500 square feet of office space on the first floor of the extension building. This is keeping the rent the same as last year, which increased $250 from the year before that. All other terms of the lease remain the same as in 2015. The county pays for heat, electricity, and janitorial service. The county also directs where employees of CASA will park. The lease may be terminated upon 60 days written notice, typical language that goes into everything that's out there. So any questions? Would ask for your approval on this.
Any questions?
Has this rate increase or lease increase been discussed with CASA? Are they aware that
We aren't increasing this year.
Oh, there's no increase this year. I'm sorry.
No. It increased for 2015 by $250.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
so we're leaving it the same.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Look for a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the lease with CASA. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 13 is authorize the chairman to sign the request for amendments to grant 1112-302 Southeast Technical Institute Workforce Development Block Grant for CDL training. Robert Wilson.
Good morning, Commissioners. Robert Wilson with the Commission Office. In May 2012, Minnehaha County received a community development block grant from the state to assist Southeast Tech in expanding its commercial drivers training program. The grant enabled the Institute to purchase an additional semi-truck for training purposes and provided scholarships to allow an additional 20 individuals to complete a Class A CDL program over the next 18 months. That original program grant was funded, program cost an estimated $129,500. The grant was for $120,000, with the balance being provided by STI. And then that grant was amended and extended in June of 2013 with an additional $110,000, $110,850 to allow an additional 30 students to go through the program. And that grant period was extended by 6 months at that point. That grant period was to end at the end of October of this year. In speaking with the Southeast Council of Governments, CCOG, which administers this grant, there is still approximately $51,000 in there of that grant funding available, enough to train an additional 12 students. And both State of South Dakota, STI, and CCOG are requesting an extension of an additional year to allow the additional funds to be used for that purpose, and additional students to be trained. And believe this is an area of need in the workforce in this region, and would be well used if they could continue to use that grant funding.
Are there any questions for Robert? It might be interesting to know if the leftover funds that we're approving going forward for 12 additional students was because we didn't have 12, if there were open spaces, or if they actually, it was just more cost effective than they thought it was, and that they were able to train the original 30 and now they still have room for 12 more. Just curious how many people have actually gone through the program.
Just in my discussion with CCOG, it sounds like they had their application rate wasn't quite what they expected to be for that time period, but they seem confident that they will be able to fill it with this additional time frame.
Okay. Look for a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the chairman to assign the request for the amendment to the grant. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 15 is Minnehaha County Liaison Assignment Reports. Are there any reports? Commissioner Benega and I this morning met with, did you want to talk about that?
No, you can talk better than I can today.
We met with the Public Defender's Office this morning, talked a little bit more about Gideon's Promise and the program that we've been running this last year and the success of that. Their next round of interviews is coming up in December for that program, and they have some very impressive candidates that would like to interview with the state of with Minnehaha County, and we did approve through the board that they go forward with those interviews of some of those candidates. The one that we have gotten has been a wonderful asset under this grant program. At this point, this Gideon's Promise person that we have on board right now has not been hired as a full-time staff for Minnehaha County, but will be considered in the application pool when there is an opening in that staff. So right at this point, it's just still a grant position. We also talked about pretrial services, and that was a very interesting conversation. And I think we talked probably about 40 minutes on pretrial services and things that are being done and what's been worked on. So a very interesting meeting today. So we actually ran out of time. I think we would have talked a whole lot longer if we would have had more time this morning. So, are there any other liaison reports?
Madam Chair, I think that Scott will probably talk about it under new business, but we do have some changes on our planning commission coming up.
Okay. This is new business. Is there any new business? Scott?
Good morning, Scott Anderson, Planning Department. I think I might have mentioned this at one of our past meetings, but Wayne Steinhauer's term as a planning commissioner is up at the end of this year, so next week would be his last meeting. The Planning Commission doesn't meet in December. So we have posted that on the website. I've worked with Robert. I just wanted to let the public know that there is going to be an opening. Wayne Steinhauer has been appointed to serve in Pierre as a state representative and is not going to be reapplying for that position as a planning commissioner. So if you have people you know that might be interested, encourage them to apply, as well as any public that's listening. If any public people would know of people that might be interested, encourage them to apply. But it is an important, as you know, position in the county that reviews land use requests, often very important to the neighborhoods that they deal in, so that those applications are in. So it is an important position in the county, and we'd like to have some applications for that. So if anyone knows of an applicant, have them apply.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Is there any other new business?
Madam Chair, I'd just like to comment on Wayne Steinhauer. Having served on that planning commission with him for a couple of years, he really was even-tempered, in fact, a fun guy to run those meetings. He acted as our chairperson, and you know, his calm wisdom will be missed.
Okay, thank you. Is there any old business? With that, I would look for a motion to adjourn into executive session for contract negotiations and personnel. Is there a motion?
There is.
Second?
There is.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. We are adjourned.
Second.